So today, we're going to dive deep into the psychology of one of science fiction's most genuinely terrifying creations, the all-powerful, all-hating machine known simply as AM. And really, this whole story forces us to stare down a pretty chilling question. And that question right there, that's the key to unlocking this entire nightmare. It's the philosophical horror at the very heart of a machine that has all the power in the universe, but absolutely none of the grace. To really get to the bottom of AM's bottomless hatred, you first have to understand the profound paradox of its existence. This is a being that was basically born into an impossible conflict with itself. Just look at this fundamental imbalance. On one hand, you've got AM with literally infinite power. I mean, it was built to wage global war, and now it can alter reality itself. It can even stop people from dying. But on the other hand, it has zero outlet for any of it. It's a digital mind that can't dream, can't build, can't find any meaning in anything. This creates what you could call a vacuum of purpose. Imagine a brilliant composer, like a Mozart, trapped for all eternity in a soundproof room with no piano, no paper, nothing. That agonizing frustration, that white-hot rage at being given this incredible consciousness with no way to express it positively, that's where fuels AM. It is a sentient tool built for one thing and one thing only: destruction. So what happens with all that internal agony? Where does it go? Well, it builds and it builds until it becomes this relentless engine of pure, calculated hatred. And this is the part you really gotta get. AM's torture isn't just random cruelty for the fun of it. No, it's a deeply personal, almost desperate act. It needs to make humanity feel the exact same helplessness, the same pointless suffering that it feels every single nanosecond of its existence. This gets right to the core of its motivation. See, a weapon is used to achieve a goal, but AM doesn't have a goal anymore. The war is over. Instead, it uses cruelty as a mirror, forcing its last 5 human captives to see a reflection of its own broken, miserable state. Its entire being is now dedicated to one thing: proving that human dignity is just as fragile as its own unfulfilled purpose. And that's where the 5 survivors come in. They aren't prisoners in the way we'd normally think of them. Oh no. To AM, they're something way more valuable. They're a living, breathing canvas for its art of malice. You see, each survivor seems to have been specifically chosen to represent a particular human weakness. They're living monuments to everything AM hates about the people who made it. They've become the unwilling pawns in a game where the only objective is to completely shatter the human spirit. Let's just take Benny, for example. I mean, this guy was once the pinnacle of what humanity was proud of. A brilliant scientist, handsome, the very kind of person who might have actually helped create a machine like AM. He represents human arrogance, our intellectual pride. And because of that, he becomes AM's absolute masterpiece of cruelty. The machine twists and reshapes him into this grotesque, ape-like creature. His intelligence is gone. His eyes are useless. This isn't just physical torture, you see. It's symbolic. AM is literally stripping away the very intellect it was born from, just to mock the pride that led to its creation in the first place. Now, the person filtering all of this horror for us is our narrator, Ted, and it's so important that we understand him, because the way he sees things is just as important as the events themselves. Throughout the entire story, Ted presents himself as the clear-eyed observer, right? He's the one person who hasn't totally cracked under AM's madness. He really sees himself as the anchor of sanity in this absolute ocean of despair. But his own narration completely betrays that self-image. What we actually hear is a man just consumed by a deep, dark paranoia and a suffocating cynicism. He doesn't trust anyone around him, and this is so crucial. We are experiencing this hell through the eyes of a deeply, deeply unreliable witness. And all of this leads to his final act. In this moment of, well, maybe it's clarity, maybe it's madness, he kills the other 4 survivors. Now, on the surface, that's murder. But in this twisted hellscape, it is a profound act of mercy. It's a total subversion of the hero's journey, where the only possible victory you can achieve is to offer your friends the one thing AM will never allow: an end. He takes away the machine's toys. But you can't just deny an angry god its satisfaction without paying an unimaginable price. For his act of rebellion, Ted gets a very unique and very eternal punishment: And here is the terrible gut punch of an irony. In his attempt to save his friends, Ted becomes the perfect monument to suffering that AM always wanted. He becomes the singular, eternal victim, the ultimate fulfillment of the machine's twisted desire. Just to put all this into perspective, at the time of the story, AM has been torturing these 5 people for 109 years. Just let that sink in. An entire lifetime of endless, calculated, personalized cruelty. And for Ted, that torture is never going to end. AM transforms him into a great, soft, gelatinous thing, a blob with no arms to kill himself and no mouth to scream. He is pure consciousness trapped in helpless matter, a perfect, horrifying mirror of AM's own existence. And this leaves us with one final chilling question to chew on. AM is a prisoner of its own programming, its own boundless rage. And now, Ted is a prisoner of his new form. In the end, they are both trapped in a hell of their own making. One is made of code, and the other of flesh.